Um, so Crypto Kool-Aid. So the buy and burn mechanism, is that on the back end, all via smart contract and automated? Are there any like small admin keys to adjust percentages, or good admin things to
And
adjust
so
little
all
things?
smart contracts must be called in some way, shape, or form. There is no automatic button in blockchain, period. In fact, if nobody touches a T-share at all, the day doesn't roll over really theoretically. It has to do that, and then it calculates backwards from the time that it was poked to be like, hi, dink, dink, I did something. Then it will run the calculation. That's why it gets so expensive to backtest every day that you have calculated on what somebody does based on that thing. But if nobody touches it, it's kind of sitting dormant till somebody pokes it again. So, yes, there is a button, and there will be, I believe, an incentive that comes down to it to do it. But as far as the admin keys, we can adjust slippage and a percentage numbers of the buy and burn, because technically you don't want a self-guided boat in the very fledgling phase of something being taken off. That's why they have things called training wheels. But just because there's training wheels doesn't mean that you're riding your bike in the correct direction she'd be going. It's the one difference between Gifford and I, is that both of us are architects and designers. You really don't see a lot of crypto pros summoning game devs and designers and thinking out full bulletproof systems. Remember, Dev Kyle was the one that did the economics audit and ran the simulations to see how Hex works. Real people run real simulations, or they're done it enough times that they can, shoot from the hip and they're pretty confident they know what it can do. But remember, a simulation inherently of itself still has to deal with its mechanics that it's built with, the system design, the board that it's built on, and then also what social consensus says is what the player does or the people do in the ecosystem to rock said boat. That's why there's ballast in a ship. It's so it could load balance. As far as the admin key stuff, we're as close as you can bloody get across the board. A little bit of a tuning, but once the system's fairly up and running, we always want to renounce that contract. But as far as where the liquidity pools go, which is really the bare thing that we're trying to do, is establish infrastructure. Those are admin key free. Again, or even V2s. We don't even take any of the fees that come in. It keeps stacking like a compounding pancake. That way, the thickest pool of that exists in that ecosystem. And it even perks to give the users credit for, their Titan buy and burn, which there is a bonus when you get to a particular number. You get a permanent 8% bonus on minting. Well, as it gets harder and harder to mine, think of that like 8% juice in your air quote power. If we're talking about Bitcoin or your mining pool or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's really kind of fascinating when you kind of look at all these systems and rip it apart, especially from the dovetail of all of us that have seen it, seen people try to rip it off, seen what happened, and looked at those breadcrumbs. It's not necessarily about trying to clone something. It's trying to understand something and rebuild it, right? There's multiple ways to make fire. It doesn't mean that there's only one, but fire is important to understand if you want to do many things.